So, is there anything to go with, it was a moral victory, put up a great fight, anything that you guys learned from that, or is a loss a loss?
Losses are lessons, and I think that's the biggest thing. You know, we see certain things that we had to clean up to give ourselves the best opportunity. I'm not a huge believer in moral victory because those are standards that we hold for ourselves anyway. But sometimes the moral victory doesn't get you to victory, and that's what we're here for. So,
explosive offense, held them to 7 field goals. How many turnovers? 4, I think.
No doubt, but points are points. You know, 7 field goals is
still points.
It's still points. You know, we can't even let them get down there. And there were some things and explosive plays that we gave up to even allow them to get into scoring range, right? So, you know, specifically in games where, you know, you only got 2 of them, and those points are extremely important. You know, the goal is always to hold it to every team to a goose egg, but everything after that, you know, we're banking it in a negative. We just got to do a good job of owning the field position, and anytime we can keep them out of field goal range, that's the goal. So, yeah, we got work to do.
So Oliveira's coming off back-to-back 100-yard games. What makes him so special?
They do. They're extremely well coached. They work really well together from an offensive line standpoint. And Brady is similar to AJ. You know, he's a bell cow. He's not afraid to fight for the extra yards. He's down for the aggressive game. You know, he kind of wants that. So defensively, you have to match that intensity and understand that you know, it's not only going to be one guy. It's 12 has one ball, man. So we got to be ready for a physical game, and I'm sure that they are as well.
Have you noticed a hungry team this week coming off their first loss? I know we talked about it post-game that you kind of wanted to see that bounce back. Have you noticed a hungry team this week?
No, absolutely. We've had a good week in preparation, and we spoke about it again today. You know, we want to hunt hungry right now. There's a lot on our plate as far as, you know, we're on a short week. We're dealing with some key injuries, but, you know, you pray to be in these situations. You know, we have an opportunity to go out there and play a football game and represent the province of Saskatchewan. We want to do the province proud. So this is a game. Honestly, it's a short week, but, you know, let's get to it.
In talking with some of the offensive linemen, they said Brammer is totally more than capable. He's already up to speed. What have you noticed from him this week in terms of his first start?
Yeah, you know, you got to look. I'm always a glass half full guy. You know, weeks prior to Yosh going down, you know, we'd given him a day or two here and there just to make sure that, you know, he was ready to get going for game day. Being a KG vet, you know, only some guys can get away with that, and he certainly was one of them. But with saying that, you know, someone had to take those reps, and it was always Brammer. He's really intelligent. He studies his tail off, and he plays the game physically, which is the mental makeup of what we want at that, specifically that position, but, you know, an offensive line is in totality. So, yes, very, very, very good player, more than capable. I think we saw flashes of that in the preseason. So excited to see what he looks like now when the bullets are flying, and just, you know, don't play scared, because mistakes are going to happen. They happen for guys who play for years. So know it's coming. Just limit them as much as possible. Play hard.
Corey, throughout the few weeks of this season here, great run defense, but some quarterbacks have thrown for a lot of yards against this defense. What have you seen that's led to that, and how do you stop that from Zach Collaros doing that?
Yeah, you know, we're predominantly a zone defense, so with that, you're going to give up yards. I mean, being in this defense, so to speak, variations of it since 2014, it's always like that. But we're very opportunistic. You know, everybody's got their eyes on the ball. We just got to capitalize on those. But that being said, there was quite a few times where our eyes got us in trouble. So we just have to be more dialed, you know, in executing the operation, so to speak, from a defensive standpoint. Again, it's Zach Collaros. There's not too much that we're going to do that he hasn't seen in his time playing in this league. But, you know, matched with coverage is a perfect marriage with pass rush and pressure. We got to make it uncomfortable for him so that he could potentially give us an opportunity to take the ball away. But, you know, they still have a good group of receivers, and they got a run game to parlay off of. So we got to be dialed across the board, man. It's gonna be a good challenge.
Talking to some of the players, Coach Edwin, rivalry game Friday night under the lights. Does this have that big game feel, even though it's so early in the season?
Yeah, I think so. I think I said it earlier in the week. Records are non-existent in games like this, right? We understand, we respect our opponent. We know what they are. You could say whatever you want about them, but that's still, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, coached by a really good coaching staff, led by Zach Collaros, and they got a great defense. Biggie's over there, Willie's still there. I mean, they got a lot of core players who knows what it looks like to win, who've been in a lot of tough games. So we respect the opponent. We know what they're about to come in here with. We got to match it and then some.
What do you remember about sacking Zach Collaros in a Grey Cup game 10 years ago?
I believe they gave me credit for it, but man, I don't know. These days it was kind of close. But out to the grave, I'm saying that was all me, But that's again just tip of the cap to Zach. A tremendous amount of respect for him and how he approaches the game, how he competes, and the fact that we're talking about me playing against this guy and he's still rolling in the league and doing a great job. That's just a credit to him. But I'm sure that's a game he doesn't want to think about too much. But for me, it was a perfect way to kind of sail off for my career. Yeah.
Why was it so close? Or why was there any question about who got the sack?
Well, it was kind of, I think someone might have touched him, with a fingernail around the same time I got there. I might have fell off a little bit, but they gave me credit, so I'm stealing that forever.
Coach, you've preached since the onset of camp starting fast and on time. How do you start fast against Winnipeg?
That's a good question. Depending on their plan of attack for them. Really, to be honest with you, Dave, it's just comes down to execution in all three phases. I mean, when we talk about starting fast, it could be from the opening kickoff or the kick return, and executing in what we've been practicing all week. When I say that, it doesn't necessarily have to translate to a touchdown right away, but being able to execute, our game plan, the reps that we've had, we know what it's supposed to look like, and if we do those things, it should put us in a good position to ultimately end up with some points, sooner than possible. So it's really what it comes down to when we're talking about playing fast, is just being able to execute because you're prepared.
Friday night, under the lights, wearing obsidian-colored jerseys against a rival in town. What kind of atmosphere are you anticipating or hopeful for tomorrow night on that field?
Yeah, I just got a little bit of chill bumps. I'm excited. I think the fan base is excited. We're ready to hear them and show out. Again, we take great pride in trying to represent this province to the best of our ability and put forth a product that they're proud of and they can relate to. And this is just another opportunity for them to come out against Winnipeg. First time seeing the new jerseys. No, it should be a great night.
Taylor, Justin, Jamie, Rep.
Taylor Allen, Winnipeg Free Press. Nice to meet you. Corey.
Pleasure.
This week, have you had any kind of memorable interactions with any fans? Anyone kind of coming up to you at the gas station, grocery store, whatever, saying like, "Hey man, it's Bombers week. Like, let's."
Yeah, I don't know, Taylor. This is Regina now. I have those conversations every day, no matter who we're playing with. But no, everybody's excited. It is Bomber Week, and I know that does mean a little something different here. I've figured that out pretty quick. But for the most part, it's just to this point, everybody's just they're happy of what they're seeing, and they're just looking forward to taking in the next game. So we just got to continue to, as I spoke to, making everybody proud of the green and white, or obsidian, I guess.
What do you make of this Bombers offense? Up until last week, they really haven't looked like themselves, and the numbers really kind of back that up. So what do you make of these guys?
Yeah, no, well, the reality is, they got guys thrust into positions who, hadn't been in with the team, at the receiver position. Zach had a certain amount of time out. Timing was different with Strevler. Like, these are all things that take time, even at the professional level. So they've managed to find a way to get Brady the ball too, and obviously that sets him up for kind of a body head attack approach. And then just, I think just over time with reps being around them, you can see how explosive they can be, in which they've always been. And again, they got some continuity for the most part at the offensive line position, which we all know how important that is. So again, the last week people are saying, hey, they're back to, I mean, that's what everybody expects of that team. And we are certainly prepared for that team.
2 weeks ago, I would have not have asked you about Onario Wilson, but last week, this rookie comes out of nowhere. I think he had the second most targets by a Bomber in Bomber's history, which is pretty crazy. He has over 200 receiving yards. Is that a guy you kind of have to underline or circle and be like, okay, we got to pay a little more attention to this guy?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he showed really well, obviously, last week, and even times if he wasn't getting the ball, just seeing how he manipulates his routes, how he runs his routes at speed. And, we talk about the big game, but there's certain game when he was playing with Strevler, making one-handed catch. He's a talented receiver, and there's many in this league, and, they've had many for the last few years. And, that's just another guy who's got an opportunity for them, who shows that, he's going to be a tough guy to take off the field when they get everybody back. But, it's certainly for us defensively, he's a threat that we definitely got to keep our eye on. Appreciate you.
You frustrated Zach Collaros in that 2022 Grey Cup as a defensive coordinator with Toronto. Are there things that you see, even though he's a great player, that you think can knock him off his kilter, let's say?
I don't know. I would hope. There's certainly things that every week, Justin, we look at to see if we can try to manipulate something into our favor. But again, it's a lot of things have to be executed properly to do that versus a veteran quarterback. It's not just the pressure. It's not just the coverage. It has to tie in together to make it one cohesive unit. But yeah, he's shown to this point, with what it is as far as his turnover ratio. I mean, if we can force him and fluster him to maybe take a shot to set it up for ourselves, man, if he wants to do that, I'd be all for it, Zach. Appreciate you, but I don't anticipate that. I anticipate 4-time. Or really, I mean, how many times he's gotten the Grey Cup in a row? MVP Zach Collaros. That's what we're prepared for. So we're ready for the battle.
Jamarcus was outside telling Jacob Brammer that he's got to get ready to go against the Transformer, otherwise known as Willie Jefferson. Why do you believe Brammer is ready for that test?
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, you can't ask for a better matchup. Being a young buck coming in to see if you're ready to play in this league. Again, another guy I have a tremendous amount of respect for, and Willie. His tool belt as far as it's concerned about pass rush. Even if he's not rushing, he's a threat to knock the ball down. He does a lot of really good things that Jacob's going to have to get his mind right, and Trevor on the other side going to have to get their minds right for. But if you study enough tape, there's some things that you see that you can take advantage of. It's just, again, it's always going to come back down to execution. But if there's an opportunity for you to go out there and slow down Willie, which not a lot of people have been able to do over the course of his career, you can leave the game feeling confident in yourself, and you can't ask for a better opportunity.
You said earlier in the week that Hardrick was most likely going to have surgery. Is he having it? Did that get scheduled, or what's the timeline?
Yeah, he's gonna end up having surgery here pretty soon. But again, nothing's really changing. Same thing with Phillip and his surgery. There is an outsider shot that they could be ready at the end of the year if we do what we're supposed to do as a team. But that's why I love Yosh. He's still, every day he's been here. He's been at practice. He broke the team down yesterday. He was out there today, and his family, man. It's again, tough loss for us to losing a player like Yosh, but still to be able to have him and his family around constantly around the building, that brings comfort, because that's a huge part of what Yoshi brings to our team.
Corey, I wanted to expand on Jamarcus. He won't be the spiritual leader on the field, but how important, what do you see from him in kind of a disappointing time in his career as still kind of that spiritual guider of this group?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it's incredible, Jamie. We got WWYD. What will Yosh do? That's where we're at, you know. And just saying that, you already know what we're talking about. He's been in contact with many of the guys, you know, over the phone. It was extremely important. You know, yesterday he broke the team down, and you know the guys are all ears, complete focus on what he has to say. And certainly, just because he's been that guy for us doesn't mean that these guys aren't there for him when he's going through a tough time. That's the environment that I think we've built here. These men really care for each other, care for each other's families. If Yosh is laid up, you know, recovering, still love to see his kids at practice. So we're a family, man, and I love that.
Are you surprised by how quickly that's come to be, or not?
I'd say it probably did happen a little bit quicker than I anticipated, but that's really just pushed us to a little bit of what the relationship these guys already had that we're in the building together. And I think the pieces that we brought in, understanding of what we're trying to build and the conversations we had leading into training camp, and the vulnerability that these guys have shown with each other and their families. It's a pleasant thing to see, and my family's the same way, you know. We left, my kids were in here yesterday, we leave out, Mario offers giving my kids donuts, probably shouldn't have, but, you know, I paid for that, we paid for that. But that's just what it is, man, and just pleased with that aspect of it.
So Mario Alfred's a good uncle then, right? Give the kids sugar and go away.
Yeah, well, Uncle Mario better make sure to leave a couple in my locker or something like that.
Awesome, thanks guys.
Appreciate you guys. Much love to you.